Yo, what up, everybody? Own army coming at you. What do pyramids of Egypt, a mysterious monkey theory, and the future of Web3 all have in common? Well, dive into Shy Speaks SHIB, episode 5 with your boy. I'm going to go ahead and run through the whole episode, give you some of my opinions as to what I think is going on in the Shiba Inu ecosystem. Of course, you guys already know the Shiba Inu ecosystem is composed of the tokens, composed of the Shibarium blockchain, the SHIB OS technology stack, and the country called the Shiba state. That's right, the first digital. So let me go ahead and quickly just run past this. So of course, you already know Shytoshi Kusama's philosophy is embedded into this. So devs first tools that change the game. This isn't just a podcast, my people. In fact, here, let me go ahead and just get into reading the description from this. So the title of this podcast episode is Pyramids, Potatoes, and Protocols. Shytoshi and John Doe unveil the future of decentralized development. This one came out June 20th. I'm a little behind, I admit, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to go back to it. We're not just going to skip it and not know what's going on. We need to absolutely get context as to where this is going. So let me go ahead and quickly read the description from the Spotify to you guys, and then we will dive right into it. Of course, I will shout you guys out if I see you in the comments. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put them out there, my people. So anyways, it says step into the mind-expanding universe of Shy Speaks SHIB, episode 5, hosted by the enigmatic Shy, as he dives deep into the intersection of culture, consciousness, and cutting-edge technology. Joined by the Engg Manager of Shibarium, John Doe, this episode unpacks the evolution of development. From the pyramids of ancient civilizations to the decentralized infrastructures of Web3. Explore the 100th monkey theory, a metaphor for viral innovation, and discover how this concept parallels the global acceleration of AI, crypto, and decentralized platforms. As Shytoshi philosophizes about human potential, collective intelligence, and the inevitability of disruptive innovation, John Doe brings it all down to earth, revealing the real-time advancements of the Shibarium ecosystem. This episode unveils a developer-first roadmap, including Shibarium's new dev-focused Telegram channel, powerful new APIs, SDKs, and faucet access that simplify blockchain innovation, how Shibarium aims to become the go-to infrastructure for decentralized applications, the race to create a Web3 killer app, an essential world-changing technology, the launch of SHIB Dev Portal as a one-stop hub for building in the Shiba ecosystem, blending myth, history, and futuristic tech in a poetic narrative. This conversation inspires everyone, whether you're a developer, builder, investor, or philosopher of the digital age. You'll walk away with deep insights on why the future belongs to those who code it. Okay, this once again is from June 20th. It's a 39-minute banger. And in fact, if you go to the other episodes, the episodes are normally not this long. So the fact that this has so much alpha in it, just be aware to take notes. I myself will be taking notes, and we'll be going through some of the concepts that they bring up at the end of this. If you guys come across something they mentioned that you think is interesting, go ahead and jot it down, write it in the comments. I will go through the comments. This is going to be about, I was going to do about 30 minutes, I'll be honest, but it looks like it's going to be at least a 1 hour episode because live, because just this alone is 39 minutes. So they definitely spoke about a lot. So we'll see what we learn with this podcast guest called John Doe, the Engg Manager of Shibarium. All right, cool. Without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn down this music. Turn it down a little bit. All right. And then what I'm going to do is, let's see what the comments are quickly. So, of course, Shibanoski, you know I appreciate you, bro. He said, about the dip, but it tipped even more. What What the F? I felt that, man. I felt that. I'm still happy for the discount. Most Def. Casey Williams, big dog. You already know, man. What's up, dog? Shibanowski. It says red countdown, liftoff, red rocket countdown. All right, yes, sir. Silver platter, bone with a fire emoji. All right, cool. Without any further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and press play. You guys let me know if this is actually running for you guys. If you guys can hear this. Who's in the chat if you could hear this?
Ladies and gentlemen, foes and fans, friends and fudders, welcome once again to Shy Speaks SHIB. This is episode number 5. I'm your host, Shytoshi, and as always, I just want to thank the Most High God for allowing me to have this moment with you today. We're going to talk about something interesting. Now, for those of you who've been following the podcast, you know that I've been starting each episode big picture.
Uh-oh. Wait. You lost the sound? Lost the sound? Hold up. You lost the sound, huh? Hold up. Let me go ahead and refresh it then. Let me make sure that you guys hear this. Sometimes for some reason, that's why I was trying to see what's up. All right, cool. All right, let's go ahead and see what's cracking over here. Let me go back over here. All right. So this thing trips sometimes. My people don't even worry. I got you guys. Hit this right back over here. I appreciate you, Shibanowski, because sometimes this does happen. So let's go ahead and run it back though. I want you guys to hear the full episode. So let's go ahead and run it back. Yeah. All right, cool. So let me know what if it's run. It's just so I don't keep bugging you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, foes and fans, friends and fudders, welcome once again to Shy Speaks SHIB. This is episode number 5. I'm your host, Shytoshi, and as always, I just want to thank the Most High God for allowing me to have this moment with you today. We're going to talk about something interesting. Now, for those of you who've been following the podcast, you know that I've been starting each episode big picture, really large ideas about the world, history, all the things that I really am passionate about. And today we're going to go and begin to talk about development and what that means. And I have with me a fantastic guest joining us, John Doe. Thanks for being here, John Doe, once again. Appreciate you. How are you?
I'm good, Shy. Thanks for having me on the podcast. I guess I've never been on any other podcast ever.
My pleasure. It's truly my pleasure.
Making a debut.
So we'll have some fun. Don't worry. Don't be nervous. So, you know, when I have these podcasts, I talk about like the big picture stuff. I'm a big picture type of person to my advantage and sometimes to my detriment. And we've spoken about culture. We've spoken about history and a lot about what it takes to actually build a nation state or a culture around certain ideas and the amount of time it takes. We've seen this obviously over a myriad of centuries where certain leading cultures or certain leading groups develop into empires.
All right. What I was gonna say is, you guys let me know if you want me to interrupt and opine in between. The episode is gonna be hella long though, because he really is touching on some important stuff right now, guys. So really do pay attention to this. This is the fact he's talking about world history and how he's fascinated by it. Big picture, right? This is literally what he just said. So I just want you guys to understand what it takes to make a country. That's literally what he's talking about. All right. So pay close attention.
And how exactly does that take place? Well, some would say a lot of it has to do with luck, and I agree. Some would say it has a lot to do with culture, which we've spoken about. Yes, I would agree there as well. But I think at its core, what a location or culture develops is extremely important. And we can see some evidence of this, for instance, in the Mesoamerican cultures, specifically places like Mexico. If you go back to the earliest of times, it is stated that they are one of the first cultures to develop agriculture. And the idea of having agriculture versus a nomadic lifestyle where you're constantly moving and on a search for food, but instead building a current and permanent population in a location where you can develop this agriculture. And also they were utilizing high quality aqueducts as well to cultivate various forms of food. Essentially, corn was a big one, maize was a big staple, quinoa, etc. in the Andes, became extremely important because it allowed the culture to flourish. And that's really what good development is all about. It's about producing a product or a series of products that allow the culture around or the situation around the culture or nation or location or group to flourish. Again, doesn't always have to be something as we would think simple as food, but obviously growing food is not as simple as maybe think. A lot of it would depend on climate. But in certain cultures, it's something simple as pottery, for instance. Or if you go back to ancient Egypt, or Kemet, as it was known, there was a large culture around information, the sharing of information, the proliferation of information, obviously the Hermetic sciences, which I'm a big fan of. And a lot of these pieces of information that became the foundation of that culture for centuries to come. And many would argue the foundation of a lot of cultures even today. But most would know it. So
What I'm gonna do
when you
though,
can produce a
I'ma just speed
system
it
of
up.
products or a system of developments that can outlive your culture, they can begin to influence other cultures. Obviously, we know this is the case. Now, you'll know something that's quite interesting. Notice something that's quite interesting between these two that I've mentioned. Both have pyramids, which is also quite interesting because there is the 100th monkey theory, which I am quite intrigued by, and I'll explain what it is in just a moment. But you have two different cultures in two different places in the world producing two very similar products. And there are multiple explanations of how this is possible. But the two best explanations I can come up with that I've seen, obviously one would be aliens, and that aliens came and, helped these cultures that weren't as wise as we think develop advanced technologies to develop huge pyramids that required large amounts of moving of blocks and all these different things, and ironically on the same latitude. But although it is quite mysterious, I don't believe that is necessarily the case in every situation, maybe in this one. What makes more sense is the 100th monkey theory. Now, the 100th monkey theory is quite interesting. What it states is that, or what happened, because this is an actual observable experiment that took place on an island. Don't ask me which one, and don't ask me when, but I believe this is about 100 years ago, where researchers were observing an island, and on that island, monkeys would wash potatoes, but only a few of them, because they realized potatoes just taste better if they're washed. And at first, only a few monkeys were washing their potatoes, but eventually the idea of washing a potato spread to the other side of the island where there was no contact. So no one was teaching this idea to wash a potato. It just became part of what we now say is, well, in this case, monkey consciousness, but human consciousness is how we usually define consciousness incorrectly. So with this theory in place, it makes sense how certain ideas happen to blossom worldwide at the same time. I also believe that the energy of the universe at the time, or the energy on this planet from the universe, influences what ideas come or when ideas come, right? So there's that aspect as well. But I'm going to leave that aspect out just for a little bit. I'm just dealing with the human consciousness and the ability for these ideas or certain ideas to be proliferated outside of a particular culture. This is why you see a lot of the same technologies or same ideas happen at the same time. And of course, even with the 100th monkey theory, there was the first monkey to get it. So you'll also have advancements where one person will have a brilliant idea that just makes sense because of where everything is at the time. All of this ties specifically to development. In developing countries, you will find innovations because of situations. Everybody, as you know, states necessity is the mother of invention. So when you take this idea of culture, when you take this idea of community, okay, it doesn't matter if it's a human community or an animal community, and you take the idea of, you know, when a good idea has its moment or as its time, it's inevitable, you have to begin to question what is inevitably going to be developed. This is a big question when you really take a moment and think about it. What is inevitably going to be developed where you have a situation where AI can almost produce anything we can think of? Definitely can as it pertains to pictures and videos, which wasn't possible 2 years ago, right? It definitely can as it pertains to speeding up development times so that a single individual can produce almost its own billion-dollar company, almost there. When you have Web3 as a foundational framework to support this new world that is moving forward, where does this all lead? Now, from a global standpoint, there's all types of answers to this question of, we don't know, Terminator, blah, 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 right? All this stuff is possible. Agreed, it's possible. But from our perspective about SHIB, if you take the viewpoint that SHIB is a nation state, its own culture, its own community, then one is the inevitable outcome. And the answer to that question is what we're talking about today. The inevitable outcome of us developing such a strong operating system for the future is the development of more and more advanced technologies, more and more technologies to help people develop things, more and more technologies for DeFi, for AI, more and more ways for you to have fun in gaming, more and more ways for you to ideally make money in this world of crypto, as we call it in some ways incorrectly at this point, and more ways to decentralize the world, which is where this is all going, in my humble opinion. And when you really think about it, doesn't matter if it's the 100th monkey theory. It doesn't matter if it's two cultures on two sides of the world doing something similar. It doesn't matter if it's now, tomorrow, a month from now, a year from now. We are going to live in a completely different world than anyone can imagine because of what you, as a developer, as a person, as a user, as a gamer, as a, I don't know, meme lord, whatever word you want to call yourself, can do. And our job in this situation is very simple. Our job is to support it. So all that being said, John Doe, let's talk about how we are supporting the development of this Shiba state, this Shiba nation, and how we are going to move forward into the next years to come. And once again, thank you for being here. So, John Doe, let's talk about it. Like, what do we have coming down the pipeline? I know we've done some new cool stuff for the developers and they're really excited. So tell me about it. Tell us, our listeners, about what we've been doing.
Good. I like your idea about the pyramid built by aliens and all. As much as I love it, I would like to think like this is actually built by intelligence humans brick by brick. So keeping that in mind, what we should be supporting, we should be as a team that supports the whole ecosystem. What we should be doing is give a platform for developers to come, ask questions, get it answered, get as much as support that they can get. So we didn't have such an open platform up until this point, even though we had Discord where all the users were there. We had a Telegram channel called Shibarium Tech where all the users were discussing about everything, but we never had like a dedicated developer channel. So recently we created a dedicated tech-only discussion Telegram channel where developers can come and ask questions of like, I'm doing this thing, how this blocker, how do I implement it? Or I'm trying to build something like this. I want to discuss about it. Who else can support? I've seen not just the SHIB.io developers, other developers also give opinions, give ideas of how to approach that, and all those kinds of things. So this new Telegram channel that we have built, which in like 1 or 2 weeks, you're already seeing like 300 members joining and actively discussing about projects. Especially if you go to the brainstorm topic on the Telegram, that's a gem of a place. People are like discussing about all kinds of ideas. That's what we did in last 2 weeks. We are supporting as much as we can, trying to solve as many problems as we can at a time. This, I'm hoping over a long period of time, will be a place where everyone, like a Stack Overflow kind of place, but for our ecosystem, where everyone come and ask questions and get it answered and help each other and build crazy, amazing stuff. That's what I'm hoping this to be at some point.
John, that's fantastic. I do want to clarify, because you're right. I don't technically believe that the pyramids were built by aliens. I actually hold a slightly different belief that there are no aliens as the way we've been taught. They're all interdimensional beings, which is what most UFO researchers come to after years of research. And I believe that the advanced technologies used therein are either through higher power beings that are helping humans, or just simply humans, because humans are way, way smarter than they've been given credit, especially those when you go back to 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, maybe. We don't know what types of technologies they really had in place. But we see that they had advanced technologies. And the ability for us to now have even something close is really astonishing, and it's powerful. And I think that's what this is all about, right? The ability for our current people, right, on this planet to begin to develop these next level things that'll ideally, right, bring the world to a state of true, long lasting peace. One of the things that always surprised me the most, like the more and more I go down every single rabbit hole till I got to the bottom and went, oh, okay, cool, that was a cool rabbit hole, I can't get out of this, is like everything that we need to have a world of peace, we have already. There's more than enough food for everyone. There's more than enough water for everyone. If you want to talk about money, there's more than enough money for everyone. It's not a problem of we don't have it. It's a problem of we actually just choose not to do it. And that's a problem, right? And now, and I guess before, it was something where we didn't have a choice. It's kind of like you have no choice. You will use A or B. And just so you think you have a choice, here's C. But now there's D, E, F, G, H, I, and we have an app that can tell you how to build J all the way through to Z.
Somebody, of course, had a
right. There's an AI that can teach you anything you could possibly want to build. You can turn any idea to B and choose not to do. Need to have a world of peace, we have already. One of the things that always surprised me the most, like the more and more I go down every single rabbit hole till I got to the bottom and went, oh, okay, cool, that was a cool rabbit hole, I can't get out of this, is like everything that we need to have a world of peace, we have already. There's more than enough food for everyone. There's more than enough water for everyone. If you want to talk about money, there's more than enough money for everyone. It's not a problem of we don't have it. It's a problem of we actually just choose not to do it. And that's a problem, right? And now, and I guess before, it was something where we didn't have a choice. It's kind of like you have no choice. You will use A or B. And just so you think you have a choice, here's C. But now there's D, E, F, G, H, I, and we have an app that can tell you how to build J all the way through to Z. Right? There's an AI that can teach you anything you could possibly want to build. You can turn any idea into something powerful, and anyone can do it. That's a whole different level. And it's something that if you're somebody who's like way in control, and your livelihood and the livelihood of the next 4 generations depends on something that was built 100, 200 years ago, it's a problem, right? Like it's a
Yep.
huge problem. So to hear that, like we are, and I'm so glad that it's happening here in SHIB because we have so much of a unique history and ethos. But it's so good to see it happening everywhere in Web3 and even outside of Web3 as well. AI is not necessarily inside Web3, but it's happening here as well. And that's when you know that some sort of big change is truly, again, inevitable. And that's kind of funny, isn't it? Like that, like you would think that Web3 and crypto and memes are just kind of cute and funny and fun, but at the end of the day, it is the one hope that a lot of people in the world have. Including myself, that we could have a whole new world when this is all over. So to hear that we have 300 devs inside of a room talking and brainstorming about what can happen next and how this can be built is so incredibly inspiring. And you know, the best part about it is we're at a point now where we can bring a lot of these developers onto this platform and discuss. We just had
Exactly.
on
Yeah.
as the first, right, and talking about what they want to do, which is really based on charity. And their idea of what a meme really is about.
Who did they have on?
But I'm looking forward to having these more technical discussions to this platform and discuss. We just had on as the first, right, and talking about what they want to do, which is really based on charity and their idea of what a meme really is about. But I'm looking forward to having these more technical discussions about what is being built and how it's only going to take one really good idea, especially in SHIB, one really good app that will blow this whole thing open.
Fact.
And I don't know who's going to build it. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to an app that's so incredibly unique, so incredibly useful, and so undeniably necessary that I need to download it the moment I hear about it. And I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen something that's so mind-blowing that I'm just like, I have to have that on my phone. I have to have this right now, right? And that, I think, is what everyone is kind of looking for in all of Web3. What is that super killer app? And sometimes we get apps that are kind of like that through other different chains, or it's like, if you want to get 100x or 1000x or 10,000x, use this app. Okay, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot. Oh, my money's gone. Right? But like, what's that app that's like GPT is one of those type of things, right? Where it's an app that everybody just realizes that you need it. Like you don't want to be the guy that doesn't have it. Right? The disadvantage of not having a certain piece of tech when the rest of the world has it, if it's that mind-blowing, is it's undeniable. And we've seen this happen, you know, when you think about it, in certain moments in history. When you think about the invention of the smartphone, when it first kind of was presented, everyone went, oh, that's kind of cool. It's a phone with a screen. Huh. But no one knew what that would mean 5 or 10 years later, where it's like now, if you don't have a smartphone at this point, you're either choosing not to because you're trying to detox from the negative sides of it, or you're way behind in almost every regard.
But also, though, let me just, sorry to interrupt. One thing too, though, how is there not like wrist TVs already? Like, you know, where you can actually just watch YouTube or whatever it is, watch this Spotify on your wrist. Like, that kind of doesn't make sense. Also, just throwing it out there. Just there is obvious things out there. Just the ability to bring it into material form, into manifestation, is the difficulty.
Or you're in a place where you don't need it. Like, you really absolutely don't need it. You live in a, like, off the grid. You're completely happy with your life, and it's not a necessity, right? Or it's something that you can't afford. And there are people who are helping that situation as well. So, like, where does that, you know, can that happen in Web3? This is an opinionated question I'm asking you, John Doe. Do you think that there could be a Web3 app that's so killer that everybody realizes that they need it?
I'm hoping that something like that would happen, right? And I can only hope. There are a lot of people disagreeing about a lot of things, and you're super active on social media. And if you look at all these discussions right now, everything or everyone is trying to make a version of what is already existing. Genuine ideas are very less out there. Like, someone would have built something amazing, and then people start building a different, a slightly changed version of it. A lot of people are building a lot of things like that. I'm hoping, you know, somewhere in a dorm room or somewhere, you know, a few friends are sitting together and discussing about, like, that great idea, like, which may be a simple, straightforward app, or maybe a whole website that have a lot more features. But I'm really hoping someone's actually thinking about it right now. I'm hoping they will come and join our group and build it on Shibarium.
I completely agree. You know, the ability for people to have something as strong as Shibarium with such a low.
You know, the one thing I'm gonna say is something that's definitely needed is another social media app. Right? Yeah, like we need another one. My point is though, back in the day, and like all these social media apps, they used to have like it was timed. Like, okay, if someone posted at a certain time and you were following them, and then another friend posted after that friend, and then a third or fourth friend, it would be in sequence. Then all of a sudden they started rearranging them, then ads started getting mixed in between, and then all of a sudden sometimes you're scrolling and you're getting stuff from like 6 days back. Like that makes no sense. So I was just thinking about this literally. I swear to you guys, literally, I think it was like yesterday. Was it yesterday or today? I'm like, damn, why don't they make an app called Chronos? Right? And Chronos would be like a social media app, same thing, video, audio, you know, even doc. I mean, it would have to be an everything app, but the key thing is that your timeline would actually be a timeline. It wouldn't be all put in with all kinds of stuff, you know. Anyways, just throwing that out there. It seems so obvious, but I remember when they started switching that up, everybody I know was kind of bugged. Now it's just normal. You're scrolling, ad here, ad there, post from a week ago, post from this morning. You know what I mean? So anyway,
cost transaction fee is really powerful, right? Because if you have that idea, and if you're listening to this podcast, take a look at Shibarium and think about it, because not only do you get the power of Shibarium, you get all these other technologies and supportive frameworks as well, right? Like, and I guess we should talk a little bit about that. The whole Shib dev idea. We have like various APIs and things like that. Can you share some more about that? Because this is how, if I have that killer idea, and trust me, I'm full of ideas, right? Sometimes I hit a wall and I'm like, I have this idea, it's great. And I usually call Kyle, I'm like, Kyle, I have an idea. Here's the idea. And it's funny, I have that idea in my mind. Like I actually went through with GPT and I said, how do I solve this world problem? And it said, oh, all you need to do is this. And I'm like, let's do it. And I just hit a brick, like I hit a wall, like, boom, you can't do it yet because there's this issue or this regulatory problem or this doesn't exist yet. And I'm like, darn.
Yeah.
But knowing that most of what is necessary to build the killer app or the game-changing idea is something that we offer, I'd love to hear it so that we can explain it to somebody who may have that same idea or the next idea, the next big thing, as they say.
Yeah, let me talk about that. But you're reminding me about the gas fee as well. You know what is the average gas fee at this point? It's too great. Like it's as low as that. It's so cheap. So if you want to come and build on Shibarium, like this is the time. It's so cheap that you can do whatever you want, and you know for a whole day, you will still not spend $1. So it's as cheap. So yeah, now going back to ShibDev, ShibDev or what we call as developer portal is there's one portal where we are trying to bring all the SDKs that we are currently building, all the APIs that we're currently building, one place that everyone can come and look at things and start building that. So like what you said, like someone with an amazing idea and that they want to build it on any chain. Let's say Shibarium as example. The first thing that you need is obviously you need an RPC to connect to the blockchain and then interact with the blockchain. It's okay. You can go get the public RPC, or you might need a private RPC with more, with almost no rate limits, or like, you can interact much faster. You can send more requests. You can extract more data from the blockchain, all those kinds of things. So that point is when you actually come to like the developer portal. You can come here, create your own project, get your own API key. And now with that API key, you have your own private RPC URL. At this point, it's absolutely free also. So you can just come grab your RPC URL. And then you can start building on that. So once you have the RPC URL, it's like you can use it in any SDKs, like the Shibarium SDKs or other SDKs that you're using. Anywhere you need this API key and RPC, so you can use that, interact with the blockchain, send data, extract data, and we have on-chain data API available. You can use that. You have transactions API available right now, balances API available right now, and we are working on more stuff as we are talking. Yeah. I know I'm getting Slack chats on the background right now because people are building amazing stuff. As we are talking. So everything that we're building will come to this ShibDev portal, and
I'll be back.
Just come here, get your API key, start integrating.
So they're basically trying to get people to get their RPC key. Okay, so I will definitely try to look into that, my people, because honestly, I'm not even too tech savvy when it comes to that. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people just this last minute, if they could simplify this last minute into layman's terms, because right now it just gets way too tight. And obviously, I myself know you got to get an RPC to be able to communicate with any blockchain. I mean, I understand that, but to be able to get an RPC key and move all that. Anyways, I'm gonna let this roll, and I'll be right back.
To quickly list what we have. We have the RPC endpoint that I already said. We have the transactions and balance APIs that I said, which more APIs are coming in. And as a developer, as a new developer, the first thing that you need is you need a faucet, because you'll be working on the testnet and you need some bonds to interact with the blockchain. And you don't, oh shit, where do I get the bond? Just send your, just click a button and you will get some bond on your, wallet. And then you can use that bond to interact with the blockchain for a whole day. So the faucet is right there on the developer portal. You just use it, get your bond and start building. And as and when all the SDKs are available, those will be, listed there as well. The auth SDK, the paymaster, all those things that we are building right now, the account abstraction things, everything will be right there. Some of them are already out there. More things will come. So anything a developer needs is there.
I love your excitement, Joe. I love it because I can tell how much you really love this and like all of the things. And you don't understand balance, and can just come here, get your API key, start integrating. To quickly list what we have. We have the RPC endpoint that I already said. We have the transactions and balance APIs that I said, which more APIs are coming in. And as a developer, as a new developer, the first thing that you need is you need a faucet, because you'll be working on the testnet and you need some bonds to interact with the blockchain. And you don't, oh shit, where do I get the bond? Just send your, just click a button and you will get some bond on your, wallet. And then you can use that bond to interact with the blockchain for a whole day. So the faucet is right there on the developer portal. You just use it, get your bond and start building. And as and when all the SDKs are available, those will be, listed there as well. The auth SDK, the paymaster, all those things that we are building right now, the account abstraction things, everything will be right there. Some of them are already out there. More things will come. So anything a developer needs is there. I love your excitement, Joe. I love it because I can tell how much you really love this and like all of the things that we have and what we built. And the fact that we finally get to a point where we can share with the community so they can really start building with Shibarium. And, one of the things that I find quite interesting, and this is something that in this process of developing SHIB into what it is now, I've come into quite a myriad of new understandings. And one of them is, hey, that's great, right? But if I'm a major corporation or government, and I'm talking about implementing this for 10 million people, Shibarium is not going to cut it, right? Because I can't have a day where the cost 1,000 X's. So it is $1 a day now for me, or $10 a day, or $5 a day, right? I just can't afford that if I'm an airplane provider, or airline, or if I'm a, like a business. So instantly we realized we need a new partner that can really help us even scale beyond Shibarium, which is a mind-boggling situation when you have a blockchain that's in 1.1 billion transactions, right?
Yep.
So what we ended up realizing is that we need these roll-ups. We need the alpha layer. And I want to talk a little bit about this before we go and talk about how this works. And I've spoken about the alpha layer before in an earlier podcast with Wiz. And I wanted to kind of nail into this because it's an interesting situation where finally, if I have a brand, for instance, and I want my own chain, I want my own blockchain, and I don't want to use Shibarium, I still can and still get all the robust additional features that come with Shibarium, with SHIB, and the operating system of the future that we built, SHIB OS, which includes things like identity and payments and karma, reputation. All these various things that really help me as a developing brand or company, enterprise or government scale well beyond even what Shibarium can do. And in doing so, move Shibarium to the layer that takes all the information and then moves it into Ethereum, giving Shibarium another use case. I love this concept because I know that it's a blocker that a lot of companies run into. And rightfully so, right? Like, not everybody's like Sony. Like, I'm just gonna make my own blockchain. Sony can do that. Billions of dollars, right? They're producing tons of games. They're gonna need it. But if I'm a small mom and pop shop and I realize I want to have my own chain, but I don't want to spend the cost to develop my own chain, then something like this, having my own rollup makes sense, right? And can you kind of maybe explain about that? So maybe I'm not developing the next big app. Maybe I just kind of want my own chain and I want my own branding associated with it without it having to be ship branded, without it have to be on Shibarium. I don't want to say that it's on Shibarium. I want to say it's on my chain, right? How does that work? What exactly do we have coming down that pipeline very soon?
Great question. So, I mean, that's exactly what rollup is. So, but when we say rollup, I've seen a lot of people who are new to Web3 and who are just hearing about what is the blockchain and everything. And when we say them like, hey, there is this rollup concept that we're working on, they're like, what is a rollup? What is this? So this fancy name sometimes don't explain to the people really well. It's just add the blockchain. It's as simple as that. It's just add the blockchain, which is much more flexible than an already existing blockchain, conventional blockchain. That's what a rollup is. A very simple definition is it's either blockchain that you have more control over. It's your own blockchain. So, as you said, people who want to have their own blockchain and they might look like, oh, Ethereum is there, Shibarium is there, and these are like, yeah, these have been here for a very long time. It needs a lot of money for me to run all this, and it takes a lot of time for me to build this. But to be honest, do you know how many minutes it would take right now for us to launch a rollup? I think that's 30 minutes. You press the button and it's 30 minutes.
What?
It's up and running your own blockchain. And you have your own Office URL and you can connect to it and you can interact. And it's happening right now behind the scene. Like, it's not public, of course, but that's all it takes. 30 minutes, you will have your own chain.
Wow.
So,
Wow,
yeah.
30 minutes and I have my, are you serious? And
Yeah,
you know, that's it's epic because having the use with 30 minutes, having my own chain without having to spend what would take, you know, months and months of development and worrying about all these things for years, which it took to really understand, you know, blockchain years ago. But hey, boom, 30 minutes, I have my own chain, it's branded for me, and now I can utilize it and still get all the additional features like FHE is next level. And I just love that SHIB is building this next level type of infrastructure and thinking next level, because as we stated earlier in this podcast, right, this is how the next big thing gets built. This is how the little guy, as so many people love to call people who are, you know, disadvantaged and trying to build with very little, just like I was most of my life, now has a shot. I can have my own chain. I can then produce my own X or Y. I can have my own DeFi. I can do something super fast without a lot of huge costs. And that's when we're going to see true innovation take place. And why not have it take place right here with SHIB? So ultra exciting. And I love the simplicity of that, right? Because when you hear roll app or roll up, you get confusing. What does that even mean? I don't understand L2. No, you want your own blockchain, bro? Press this button.
That's all it's needed. You don't want to know about everything about blockchain, but as a developer, of course you need to know what's happening and all. But in general, you don't have to know the building blocks of a blockchain. How do I set it up? You don't have to know that. And if you are a developer who have been developing contracts or dApps on top of any EVM chain, our rollups are no different. You are at home. You know exactly what you're doing. The contract that you have once deployed on Shibarium, if you want to deploy the same contract on one of the rollups, I think you'll have to make like one line change and then you can deploy it. Like, there will be no change. That's it.
Wow. You know, this is exciting. And I'm so excited to hear these things. Again, nobody has something like this when you include all the other features like FHE. It just doesn't exist.
Hold on, let me just,
and it's so powerful, like, that we have it.
The thing is also, though, what this means that brands, Disney, Marvel, Starbucks, the mom and pop shop down the street can have all their client list. They can have all of the rewards fully on chain without any information from the individual getting out. Full privacy end to end. Like, I mean, this is major. This is major, people. Like, I mean, it's like, I know they're both of them are geeking out, you know, and in my head, I'm like, holy shit, this is big. So just understand how big this actually is. Like, this is fully homomorphic encryption on top of the alpha layer within an ecosystem blockchain that's part of a future state with a technology stack and utility guided tokens. I mean, and they're hinting at a major application, just throwing it out there. They're clearly hinting at it.
And I love in our own unique way, I feel like we are like completely underestimated.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, SHIB is it's a meme, bro, and it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
and you know that's
Just
okay.
wait, just
That's
wait
okay. It's
till
okay because
it's
it is a
in
meme,
their
right? And
face,
it's okay to stay in
inevitable.
that level of understanding if that's where you want to live. But if you want to actually DYOR, take, I don't know, man, like 2-3 hours, listen to all these podcasts, you'll realize what we have
All you gotta
and
do is
how
follow my
it's such a
channel.
game changer to the entire world. And you know, John, I feel good after this podcast. I hope all the devs out here understand. Do me a small favor. Let's give some links on where people can go if they want to build on SHIB. I guess SHIB.io is where to start, right?
Shib.io is the place for everything. Shib.io is the main hub. You can find everything. But if you want to like specifically go to the developer portal, it's dev.shib.io, dev.shib.io.
Shib.io.
And if you want to read more, the docs, like the docs section, it's docs.shib.io. docs.shib.io. Go there, you'll find everything. And I'm writing more and more every day. So you'll see more, not just me, Wes is writing, everyone, the developer team is actively writing more, documentation and more easy tutorials and everything. So it will be there. You go to the docs, you will know what you need. If you still can't find, come and ask on the Telegram, and we will definitely answer for you.
Fantastic. You know, John, I really
Shib.io,
appreciate
man.
you coming on the podcast today and kind of going deeper into how development can happen if you have an idea and it's a low cost way to get started into building something awesome. And for sharing your time and your energy with us on this podcast. And I don't know how we got on the topic of aliens, but maybe I'll do it just a podcast just on aliens. But right now, it's all about human development.
Don't do it.
Not alien.
Do not do it.
And if you're a dev out there, you know where to start. Shib.io to find out where to go next and how we can help you build on Shibarium or to build your own chain as we begin to roll out the alpha layer and all of the fantastic technological developments and advancements that we've been building over the last, seems like forever, years. And I think that concludes our podcast for today. It is always a pleasure. John, thanks for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Any final words you want to say?
Come and build. That's all I have to say.
That's what I'm talking about. Look, we're here and we're really excited to have you, listener, with us. We will see you next time as we begin to learn more about who and what is building on Shibarium, more about the frameworks and the foundational elements therein, and how you can be a part of this revolution that we are starting for decentralization and a better world for literally all of us. Until then, take care, be safe, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay. Well, that was the episode, my people. The podcast, I should say, of Shytoshi. So any questions, go ahead and put them out there. I took a couple notes just because it was so much. In fact, this was the longest podcast they had done. Normally they run about 15, 20, maybe 25 minutes. This one was like 39 minutes. This one was about, so much that they dedicated a lot of time to it. So that's kind of cool. All right, cool. Well, with that said, John Doe, it seems like a lot of the developers I've noticed come from like an Asian, South Asian kind of region. So, big up to them for continuing. It seems like Shiba Inu is like an Indian centered development team. You know what I mean? And as you guys know, they're doing a great job, So one thing too, the development that he kept talking about was he was saying more development leads to more development. So that's basically explains what Shytoshi Kusama Kao, the Shiba Inu ecosystem, has basically done. Keep in mind, this started off as just a meme coin. Then they talked about the wolf papers, and within the wolf paper, they mentioned Shiba Swap and what might come of that. And look at us now, literally waiting. Now we're waiting for the legislation on the stable coins. You know what I mean? Because people are like, when Moon, well, damn, What do you mean when move? We can't even get out the whole ecosystem out right now because we're waiting on legislation so that we can also move and bring out the 5th token. Keep in mind, there's 5 tokens in the entire Shiba Inu ecosystem, okay? And that's not counting the non-fungible tokens. Oh shit, hold on. Hello? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, different, actually. Give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. My bad, my people. I got 1,000 things going on in the back. I got some French like glasses that I'm gonna go ahead and try to get rid of. Anyways, with that, so let's go ahead and keep talking about this. So he really did touch on so much, and I'm gonna try to keep this to within an hour. So I got about 9 minutes to try to run through this whole thing. And actually, one thing I'm gonna tell you, this right here was a Spotify episode. Okay, this is number 5. If you haven't caught any of the other episodes, go ahead, go to my channel. I have them there, but actually forget that. Go to Shy Speaks, follow this Spotify channel, okay, this podcast. Go through all of them. Go through episode 1 all the way. Keep in mind, if you like crypto, if you like Shiba Inu, there's literally a podcast for you guys to tap into. So I just did the 5th episode. If you come over here, where is it at? See all episodes. You come over here, and then they give you all the episodes. So basically, the first one talked about building. Then they had like Oscar, the meme with a mission, pyramids. Actually, there was more down here. That wasn't the first one. The first one, the karma system, how they all turned on Shy. I did a big thing on that where even some of the whales in Canine have turned on him. So I haven't even been in that chat, to be honest, in a minute, just because I'm like, every time I go in there, I just get pissed off, honestly. So anyways, next episode is going to be Ether Mail and the rise of Web3 email. Shant talks AI, privacy, and building what's next. So this one's 33 minutes. Look, the following one, the last one, which dropped on the 27th, 27 minutes. So that's what I was telling you, that this last one we just went through was the longest one at 39 minutes that I recall. You know what I mean? And sure enough, yeah, because even the next one is 33. All right, so this right here, just to tell you, go ahead and follow this. All right, my bad. I hadn't even followed it. I literally made a Spotify account just to listen to these podcasts. I didn't even have a Spotify, even though I'm paying for my son's Spotify. Oh, Dad, my Spotify is all right. Got you, bro. You know, but point is, I definitely wanted to get this alpha. All right, so you guys already know. Hit this right here. Hit it. Give it a 5. Submit that. Make sure you do that. So come over here to this Spotify. Look for Shy Speaks SHIB. Immediately, once you come over here, hit the follow. Once you hit the follow, hit the stars and make sure that you hit 5 stars. All right, this is my homie right here. All right, I don't know Shy, but I do respect all the work he's put in, all the work that Cal's put in, all the work that the Shiba Inu team has put in for their ecosystem. So I'm gonna definitely ride with them. All right, so with that said, I just got through episode 5. I'm gonna definitely do episode 6 and episode 7. I'm probably gonna run it in a live format as well. That way I could interact with you guys. Nobody really asked questions. I do see all the emojis, and Shibanovsky, good looking out on helping me with the audio at first, because that would have actually ruined my day if I would have gone the whole live and then Shytoshi Kusama's audio had cut off. So at least you guys understand that. So I got about 5 minutes. So let me run through my notes. This is what my notes look like, by the way. Yeah, this is what my notes look like. All right. So first off, make sure you guys take notes. If not, it's just too much for you guys to understand. When you go over your notes, it refreshes your memory. So basically, he spoke about the development of different societies and what it takes to make a country. Keep in mind, they're trying to make a country the Shiba state. And he spoke about how different countries, different regions of the world sometimes have similar concepts like pyramids. He spoke about Mesoamerica. They spoke about Egypt. Spoke about how they were on similar latitude lines. And, you know, he did hint at aliens. You know, he came over and actually said not really that aliens did it, but there's more to talk about. Personally, 100% not aliens. Humans did that. The technology that a lot of these early cultures had actually has been lost. I read this book called Guns, Germs, and Steel by Pulitzer Prize winner Jared Diamond. In fact, he won the Pulitzer Prize on Guns, Germs, and Steel. In fact, what that book talks about is how societies develop. And just like Shytoshi Kusama mentioned, when it comes to agriculture and developing agriculture, one of the big factors of that is actually the weather and climate. So crops are able to go east to west more and from north to south, just like, you know, when you go from the North Pole, then to the equator, you go from cold to hot. Then from the equator down to the South Pole, you go from hot to cold. All right. So obviously there's differences in climatological changes, weather changes, regional changes, the flora, the fauna, all of that interacts with each other. All right, cool. The 100 monkey theory. All right. Actually, I don't think it was at 101 monkey, then 2 monkeys. I think what happened was they had been cleaning their potatoes for hundreds of years. And then this one scientist was like, one day he was just out and he was like, damn, what the hell? This monkey's cleaning his potato. You know what I mean? And then he just took notice of it. You know, like when a new car comes out, and before cars were kind of like, you know, not a Cybertruck or a weird car, but a regular car, new model comes out and they're like, have you seen this? You're like, no, I haven't seen it. Then someone points it out to you and all of a sudden you see it everywhere. Same situation. So I think that had been happening for monkeys are extremely intelligent. Chimps are extremely, all animals have levels of intelligence that really do get undervalued by the arrogance of humans. Just like Shiba Inu is being undervalued and, you know, basically overlooked until it's just inevitable and everyone's going to know that Shiba Inu is like a brand, like Disney, okay, like Universal Studios, okay. We're going to have movies, we have comic books, we're going to have video games, we're going to have ecosystems with DeFi, okay, different types of DeFi, from not just only staking, but liquid staking derivatives platforms. Various ones are coming. There's different types of swaps, different types of partnerships, from mega partnerships like the Chainlink one, which is a mega partnership, to some of the smaller ones like Bad Idea AI, and then to some of the big dogs once again like Zama, which won 3rd place in the RSA conference of technology for some of their fully homomorphic encryption technology. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is, first of all these terms, all you have to know is Shiba Inu is the banger. The entire ecosystem, this is your opportunity. If you missed Bitcoin, this is basically your opportunity to get into a Cadillac, into a Lambo, into a Bugatti type project. Okay, I'm not saying get into those cars. I'm saying type product. Like I'm saying the engineering behind this. This isn't just a meme coin, a rug pull, a pump and dump. Okay, if you want a pump and dump, go to Pump Fund. All right, if you want solid projects, slide over to Shibarium, slide over to the Shiba Inu SHIB.io. Familiarize yourself with the ecosystem, do your own research, and then you're going to find out that this right here isn't just a meme coin. What this is the greatest technological Trojan horse that has ever been developed. Okay, and I truly do believe that. All right, let me go ahead and keep going with some of this. All right, so that's my monkey theory slapped down by crypto Marxists, aka Bone Army. All right, monkey's been doing that. The scientists probably got done with you know, one looked over, he was faded as hell. He was like, you know what, that monkey's cleaning his potato. And then he didn't see any monkeys around, then saw another one. He's like, hey, 2 monkeys been cleaning their potatoes. Then came back the next day, saw probably the same monkeys. Hey, 3 monkeys. So then went to the other side. Then the cousins of the first monkeys, actually, which were known for cleaning their potatoes in the entire island, okay, for hundreds of years. In fact, they were known as the potato cleaning clan. All right. Then he runs across them, and then he's like, "What the hell? 100 monkeys been cleaning their stuff over there, and now this unrelated monkey. The whole time they were cousins, bro." So I'm just saying, all right. Just you got to think outside the box. All right. Just putting that out there for you guys. All right. Web3 is important. Why? Because it leads to agentic bots and actually what was back in the day known as the Internet of Things. All right, I just hit an hour right now. I told you I was going to cut off in an hour, but I'm not going to let you guys down like that. I'm going to go ahead and just go through my notes real quick. But that was something that was really important. What does that mean? That means that everything can be connected, from your refrigerator to your washing machine to your lighting system to your irrigation sprinkler system outside to the lights in your front of your house when they turn on, when they turn off. All of that stuff fully automated, including even when you run out of certain vegetables, groceries, running low on milk, gets automatically delivered by maybe someone develops an app where Shiba Inu is the SHIB Mart, SHIB delivery service, Shiba veggies. All right, whatever it is, and it automatically goes in and it gets deducted from an assigned wallet that you have. All of this is possible. The thing is, it's not yet possible unless it's done and the infrastructure is actually something that's viable and material. So that's basically what Shiba Inu is doing. What everyone else knows could be done, but no one has done. That's what Shiba Inu. So that's why when even Shytoshi Kusama was saying, well, I thought of this, thought of that, but the technology hasn't been invented for the man, bro. I feel you so much on that. Okay, so I understand what you guys are doing. And I recognize that once all that comes in, Shiba Inu is going to be a first mover in that because everyone else is going to be talking about it. But Shiba Inu is the only one that's actually moving towards developing that infrastructure to be able to move into, like I told you, what was back in the day. You see all this white hair, old ass over here, was known as the Internet of Things. But the new term of it is called the Internet of Contracts because every single one of those things, from the sensors picking up the actual transaction going in of it saying you are low on milk, to the transaction going into ordering the milk, to the transaction between the order and the delivery service, to it being delivered, to the transaction saying that your milk was actually delivered. Absolutely everything on chain. Everything will be using bone. Keep in mind, I'm just telling you about stuff that's probably going to happen in 5 years. Is going to, oh, of course, everybody, it's normal. No, keep in mind, it's being built right now. So you guys are ahead of the curve. Keep in mind, take it from someone that missed Bitcoin. Still hurts me. I knew about Bitcoin when it was low. Try to buy it at 8. Try to buy it at 12. Try to buy it at 15. Try to buy it at 20. Wasn't able to. It was too technologically advanced. So now that this isn't as technologically advanced, and like Unknown Operator said, even when you're running low on your undies, even order your undies, bro. What up, man? Welcome. All right, cool. So one thing that Shytoshi Kusama said, I almost missed this. This was actually one of the most important things that he said in the entire thing, actually. And I need you guys to hear it because you guys know I am crypto Marxist, aka Bone Army. And as a Marxist and as a Bone Army, I understand that there is enough food for everybody. Okay. There is enough electricity for everyone. There is enough housing for everybody. There's enough of every single thing for everybody. But because we live in a capitalist, predatory system, people benefit and profit from manufactured scarcity. Okay. Because the one thing that capitalism suffers from, believe it or not, and Marx said this, it suffers from the overproduction. Okay. From the pandemic of overproduction. All right. So that's what crashes values, prices down, etc. Anyways, with that, you have to understand that with these AIs, just like Unknown Operator is saying, you have these techno feudalists who believe in CEO kings like Curtis Yarvin. If you aren't familiar with Curtis Yarvin, definitely look into it. Look into Peter Thiel's Palantir and what they're up to. Okay, so this right here, this is Shiba Inu's ecosystem is like the anti-Palantir. Understand what this is. This is literally a war for your information, literally a war for your mind. And that is no understatement. Trust me, they care about what you're doing because that's how they maximize their profits, fully exploit algorithms to exploit you. Okay, so crypto is, and this is, so there's enough. That's a quote. There's enough, end quote. Shytoshi Kusama. Another thing, he said, crypto is the one hope some people have. And I'm one of those that I do truly believe if this project goes about it where people can, and here I'm gonna get into it. All right, I know I'm 6 minutes over, but if people can actually in different countries, one click with the partner mass, for example, which allows you to create a brand or a company, right? That's what's being explained in other partnership developments. Well, if you're able to make a political party and make that a roll up in any country, well, guess what? Now you have an entire ecosystem within which you can try to move forward against the systems that's actually going to try to repress the progress in depending on the political situation in different countries, because that's how socialism develops in different countries, different paths, different rates. Okay, so that's just what it is. All right, so can there be a Web3 application that people can't live without? See, these type of questions are extremely important. And if you have that concept, if you think you have that, just like Shytoshi Kusama, just like John Doe, just like how I'm encourage you to go to shib.io, familiarize yourself with the ecosystem, try to get into that Telegram, speak to some of the developers, and try to bring that vision, that dream that you have into a reality and do it through the Shibarium ecosystem, which is one of the most inexpensive blockchains in terms of transactions. Transactions literally run you under 1/100th of a cent sometimes, literally. Okay, so that's, so you can literally, like he said, with $1 you can have transactions for the entire day, develop, test on the puppy net, slide it over to the main net. And then if you don't, for whatever reason, just want to be associated with the most powerful meme on Ethereum, okay, because people know that Shiba Inu is a meme. And that's part of what keeps people undervaluing us and underestimating us. And that's perfect because you know what? Underestimation and undervalue allows you to get your estimates up and get your value up, because at the end of the day, the value will go up, not financial advice. Now, with that said, understand how big Shiba Inu is. I already told you guys this is a multi-trillion-dollar economy in the making. Okay, if you understand the beginning of greatness, then you understand what Shiba Inu is doing. Okay, this isn't no small situation. And spoke about the app. I told you guys about my Chrono situation. There's definitely certain plays that can go on. And also, if they can reduce the jargon, it's not even jargon, maybe create the SHIB University, an official university where you learn tech, where you learn terms, and where you apply the terminology and technology, the coding, even from people that have no, I'm talking about my grandma has to be able to launch a coin on her own or code something like that. Okay, you go ahead, you practice on PuppyNet, and then you can simply slide it over to the mainnet on Shibarium as the final project. Test it, develop it on PuppyNet, slide it over to mainnet as the graduation for the Shibarium University or shib.io, UNI University, you know what I mean? All right, because certain terms like RPCs, paymasters, API keys, SDKs, okay? Yes, I understand. The tools, some of them allow you access to get into to communicate with the blockchain easier, but for people that aren't constantly talking about this, how can we make it easier for them? The only way is education. So university people, SHIB University, that's what I'm thinking. Offer actual courses, okay? And then some of the prerequisites can actually be the tech coding situation, all right? Just putting it out there. Alpha layer, we need rollups. And the reason he said they need rollups is just like I told you that Shibarium, all that. Well, some people might not want to be associated with a meme. They maybe like Cartier or Richard Mill or some bougie brand, poo poo foo foo Paris, doesn't want to be associated with a meme. Well, guess what? The roll up can allow them to make Paris chain, ooh la la chain, their brand name chain where they develop it, they run all the rules, they can put all the guidelines, and all the rewards can be channeled through there. All their clientele can be run through that without any of their identity being being revealed, and allowing them to then do research on their data without people on the other end getting exposed from the merchant trying to prowl your personal data. So in other words, they would know what the data says, but not who originated the data or whose data specifically they're trying to, they're looking at. All right. So I know I'm geeking out right there, but just that's so important for like banks. Okay, banks aren't gonna run a project and risk the identity of their clients getting out, especially when you're talking about multi-billion-dollar corporations. All right. So what this allows is what I called individualization or brandization, which is a lame sounding term, but brandization of blockchain. All right. And it can be done as quickly as 30 minutes, is what they were saying. All right. You can have your own chain. So if any of that interests you, you already know what to do. Go to shib.io, and shib.io actually looks like this right here. Hit it right here. Brah. Over here. All right. So, all right. Look at that. Shibarium's first perpetual deck's coming soon. I'm going to drop a little alpha for you guys. If they didn't tell you there, the perpetual exchange token is available now. The IDO is 100% live now. So go ahead and slide in if you're interested in that. Not financial advice, but it is going to help burn Bone with a percentage of the fees. I believe 2.5% of the fees go to Bone Burns, but that's not only what I'm going to tell you. The alpha is this. They say coming soon there. I heard the 15th is going to be live for you to do up to 8x perpetuals on Shibarium. All right. So you got the banger alpha at the very end. Look at that. I got all frozen up. Look at that. That's crazy right there. All right. But with that said, I go by Crypto Marxist, aka Bone Army. Just came at you. And I hope you enjoyed the content. If you weren't new to my channel, welcome back. If you are new to my channel, go ahead and hit that sub, hit that like, bell it up, because some of my stuff is time sensitive and urgent. And that way you can be notified when I drop content or when I go live. I don't know if I'm going to run another live later, but I did want to get this episode 5, Pyramids, Potatoes, and Protocols, out to you guys. You guys saw how much he spoke. So most likely I will hit you guys with the next episode either later on tonight or tomorrow, but have the bell on so you can be notified. With that said, like I said, I appreciate you guys. And like I like to say, I'm Bone Army. You're Bone Army. We're Bone Army. and I'm out. Deuces, my people.